Nithyananda. I am Manitya Nirvikalpananda. My old name was Dr. Sangeeta. I am from Pondicherry. I am basically from Pondicherry. I've been in the ashram for about 3 years now. So I would like to share some experiences that happened during the scandal time. I want to say first that I met Swamiji in 2006 December. I did Swamiji's ASP and NSP. Then I came to the ashram in 2007 September. I came to the ashram. After I've come here and after living with Swamiji, my life is totally transformed. In fact, I realized that my life is transformed only now. During this process of this 2-3 years, I didn't think there was any great change happening in me or anything. But during this scandal, I had an opportunity to go back home for 3 months, and suddenly I think, oh my God, so much has happened inside me and I'm not even aware of it. It's happened so beautifully simply because of living in the master space. I would say physically also. Physically my health was bad in the sense I used to have chronic backache. Now it's almost gone. It used to be so painful that every day I had to apply something, I had to take some tablets. Now it's almost completely gone. It hurts only when I exert myself too much. Otherwise it's perfectly alright. And I used to have a skin disease called as vitiligo, which used to be very obvious. And now I've totally forgotten about the disease and it's almost gone. There's hardly any trace. There's hardly any trace and it's totally gone. And not only that, for me the most surprising thing was the change in my mental pattern. Actually previously, for me any small thing used to be like a problem. If I'm given anything, I used to resist and how will I do this? I don't know how to do this. Now nothing is a problem. In fact, anything is only a situation for me to be handled. And honestly, not only for me, this is a situation for all Ashramites. There is actually no problem in our lives. We see things only as situations to be handled, and continuously I think we are alive, growing, expanding, and there is no end to anything actually. If we run out of some, if you run out of some ideas, or if there is a dead end somewhere, we have been trained to think around the problem. We have been trained to think beyond the problem and solve things. That is what I have realized. And
what did you feel about the scandal that happened? There was so much going on. The whole world was looking at us.
Yeah.
There was so much pain and so much suffering, mostly in the outside world, I think.
Yeah.
And the master was not with us for so long.
Yes.
What did you feel? What did you go through?
For me, initially, actually, the day when the video got released and in the TV they were flashing all kinds of news and things like that, I know, see, you need to understand, we are all people from very good families with very good background, all highly educated people. We have left so many things and we have come here. The central core in our life is Swamiji. I would say the spinal cord of this body is Swamiji. And suddenly there is a scandal about him. I would say when we were in the Sangha the first day, people were moving here and there, they wanted to keep us safely. There was absolutely no disturbance in the inner space at all. It is a very surprising thing for me and for all the Ashramites. See, normally you're used to getting hassled and tensed by minimally stressful circumstances, but there was absolutely no disturbance in the inner space at all. Then at night we were given our certificates and we were moved to some safe places in devotees' homes, and even then it didn't hit us actually. For me the most painful thing was parting away from my fellow Ashramites. Suddenly I realized how valuable each one is for me. Suddenly I realized the significance this place, this has been my home. I've been here for 3 years, I have no other place to go. And just because someone released some video, the authenticity is not verified, it's like just uprooting you and putting you somewhere else. But even through all this, there was no real suffering inside. This is what I remember. There was no real suffering inside. The only suffering that we went through was being away from the master and Sangha. There was no suffering outside. This is a very profound thing, because you need to understand that we have see, the only purpose of living for us is Swamiji. Suddenly the very purpose of your existence is shaken, and he's no longer available here. We are not able to reach him. We don't know if he's going to come back. We don't know if the Sangha is going to ever happen again like it happened. Suddenly everything that you have lived for, everything that you have built your life around, the whole essence of it is shaken. And but all through this, I can say there was no suffering inside. Inside, there is some undisturbed space. There is some undisturbed space, and the only suffering I went through was being uprooted from my home, being away from my master, not seeing him. That was the only suffering that I went through. Otherwise, there was no suffering at all. And I should say at this point, see, many people think, actually, once I went back home, my uncles, they were all very happy. They said, God, now that you have come back to your senses, you have come back. And they were pretty surprised when they learned that I planned to go back again. And I was very clear in my decision. I came here just for temporary 1 or 2 months till the thing sorts over. The first opportunity I get, I'm going back to the Sangha, I'm going back to the master, actually. But all through this thing, I can say so many miracles happened. For example, the first time when I came from home, see, my mom is a devotee and she's a terrific woman. Actually, she was very supportive first time also. She understands my need to live with the master, my need to be in the, she understands that I want to be with the master and the Sangha, and she was very supportive. She said, fine, go ahead, and she's also happy that I'm living with the master here. So second time when all this happened, actually when all this video was being released and we were here and all that stuff, my uncle and my cousins, they were trying to make things like, I can say like blow up things and, hey, come on, let's get her from there. What are you doing here? Don't you care about your daughter and things like that. But my mom, I think she handled it terrifically. She knew, I know that she's in a safe place. That's all. Till we hear from her, let's just keep quiet. Then I came back home, and these 2 months at home, it was a very, I think for the first time, I see for myself how much I have changed in the inside, how much my way of, my attitude of seeing things has changed. Otherwise, see, because in this ashram, everyone has the same mental setup. In the sense like that we all the same are all, I can say it's different bodies but with the same software inside. Everyone has Swami inside. So we guys more or less think along the same lines. So we really don't know how much we have evolved and how much we have changed from what we used to be before. This 3 months at home clearly showed me actually how different, how much he has changed your inner space totally. So my mom, she was very supportive throughout. Actually, in fact, 2 or 3 times when I was like, wavering minded, I would think, oh God, the Swamiji might never come back, and will the Sangha ever happen? And it's like sometimes you are desperate, and it's like, she used to be very strong. She used to tell, no, you have to go back to him. A master like him doesn't happen again and again, and I am your mother. I am very happy that you are there with him, and I would be happier only if you are there with him. For me, the only problem is if you are not around physically, I might miss you a little. Otherwise, I am also truly happy that you are there. I think no mother would actually allow, if this video were true, or if all these things were true, see, no mother would allow their child, a grown-up daughter, to go and live in such an ashram. This itself shows that I don't think we need to explain anything further actually. Many people think we are brainwashed. No, actually we are not brainwashed. It's just that we have become very clear in our thinking process. We know what is what, and we know what we need. And I would just like to share one more thing. First time when I came away, I was on very bad terms with my dad because I had to fight with him and come here. He didn't want me to join. My mom, she's been great actually, as usual. So second time when I went back, I was really scared, and what if I don't ever come back? Because for me, second time after all this, my dad is being very nice, taking me back without saying anything. He didn't put any pressure on me. When I went home, there was absolutely no pressure on me to get my master's in medicine, or to go or work, or to get married, or anything. He was absolutely great. So I didn't know, like I can't just throw away my dad and come back here like first time. I didn't know what to do, and I knew this time if I had to come, he has to agree. At least he shouldn't oppose it. and somehow I just held my mala and prayed, and I had this deep belief that Swami would take me back. Somehow Swami would take me back, and I just don't know how it happened. As usual, my mom was supportive. My dad, he just didn't say anything. I know that my dad, honestly, he wants me to be with him. He wants me to go ahead and do my education. But he did not oppose the idea of me coming here at all. See, he couldn't have stopped me. Ultimately, he could not have stopped me. But he could have made the process very painful. He could have delayed things and made it one mental turmoil. He didn't do anything. He just let go very beautifully. I think it is simply Swami's miracle. I think it is simply Swami's miracle. Otherwise, honestly, I wasn't expecting to come back so easily without any disturbance or anything. I wasn't expecting to come back so easily. I want to say that the first 3 days, when I came back from the ashram, we were sent to a devotee's home, and with our certificates, and I just called up Dad and I said, hey, come and pick me up. I'm going to be back at home. So my parents, they came in a car and they picked me up. Throughout the journey in the car, I can't even express myself. There was so much suffering, in the sense, so much uncertainty. Suddenly, there's nothing to live for anymore. Actually, there's nothing to live for. My master is not around, and I'm no longer with the people whom I love. I'm not in my home. I've been just uprooted. My roots have been shaken, and I'm just being sent home. There is no guarantee if I'm going to come back to the master or to the mission. It was a very very painful and terrible moment for me. I mean, that journey towards home and that suffering, the uncertainty of, there was no, if at all there was any suffering during this 3-4 months, that was the only suffering that I remember. The pain that I may not see my people again, I may not see my family, I may not see my master again. That was the only suffering. And throughout in the car, I would just, tears would keep flowing from my eyes, and because my dad was there and he shouldn't be disturbed, and because we haven't still have spoken about what happened at the ashram, why I came back and things. So this was from my side. From my mom's side, she was a bit anxious. She thought, oh God, she's seen some video and she's taken a hasty decision. My mom she didn't know that me coming home was a decision from the administration side. She thought that I was disturbed by the recent events and I had left the master on the mission and come back. So she didn't know that. And my mom was also anxious inside. During the journey, she was also anxious inside. She thought I left the master and came, and she was like, oh God, she was like, oh God, she mustn't miss her master, oh, my daughter shouldn't miss her master, and she was praying like that. And when we went home, we couldn't talk anything because we were in a car, my dad was there, and my dad is not into all this, and the driver was there. So once we went home, I just explained everything to her, and she was so relaxed that I'm just here temporarily and I fully intend to go back. And she was so totally relieved. You can imagine, I think it's a big surprise that any mom wanting to send her grown-up daughter to an ashram. This itself is the biggest proof or this thing of what people think about Swamiji, how people feel about Swamiji. I know that there are many parents who are very happy that their children are here, because their children here, they are much happier than what they were when I was outside. And I want to know one more thing. I want to say one more thing. When I went home, what I noticed was people, my friends, or people whom I see, whom I used to know before, actually they are all very successful people by their own definitions. See, you define success with the money you earn, a stable job, you are in a stable relationship, either married or otherwise, you define success like this. So they were all successful in their own fields, but when I meet them, or if you ask them, are you happy? And there is no excitement in their voice. I mean, I can say they are not alive. It's like, yeah, I'm happy, so what is there? And if you just see us Ashramites, actually any outsider would think, what are these people doing here? They just run around doing Swami's work, just have some basic, you have food, clothing, shelter, otherwise you don't have anything. By conventional standards, by conventional definition, if you apply the conventional definition of success, no, we are not successful. But actually I can say we are the most successful people on earth, because whatever you achieve by succeeding, we have already achieved that in our inner space. There is nothing more left to achieve. You may not have, right now I may not have a stable, I may not have a master's degree, or I don't have a stable job, or I don't have a huge bank balance. I am much more happier than all the people who have all these things put together. So this was a huge difference. I see people outside, then I see us here, and I realize all this has happened so beautifully. At the ashram, see, we don't remember to practice Swami's life solutions or anything. We are just running because there's so much to be done. We have the responsibility of taking Swami to the masses. We have to bring in more people's lives have to be transformed. The joy and the bliss that we have experienced, others also should experience. And somehow it happens so effortlessly, ceaselessly. All of a sudden you just realize that one fine day, I have changed so much. So much has happened in my inner space without any effort on my part at all. Actually, all the Ashramites feel like this. We don't even realize what we have been through. See, if you ask any Ashramite how we have been through, they don't have any conscious memory of any pain actually. Because this is also a problem, because most of the time we want to share the reminiscences during the scandal time, and we think what pain have we undergone through. And only if you think deeply, you decide, yes, that's suffering of parting from the master, suffering of parting from the Sangha. Otherwise, there is no pain at all in our lives. And we don't even realize that we have transformed so much. I would say this was actually a good opportunity that all of us went outside for a short time and came back, so that we realize what we have here. We really need to think about this, ponder upon this, because see, normally in people's life, you don't have to build your life on the basis of something but a huge business loss, a bitter divorce, or death of a spouse or parent. It leaves an emotional scar in you. It takes something very painful as a death of a loved one or parting of a loved one. It leaves a deep sorrow in you actually, and it takes you quite some time to bounce back from that sorrow. And after that you realize a part of your life, there is some void, a part of it is void and empty always. It is never full. But for us, see, you just imagine, all of us have nothing to live for. We have only one reason for existence, Swami. We are here for the love of Master. The Master is here totally just for, he is holding his body only for the sake of his loved disciples. That's all. We are living for him. He is also living for us. The very reason for our existence has been shaken. Suddenly no master, no Sangha, and within a very short time, 3-4 months, everything is back to normal. Now it's like now it's even difficult to think back what happened 3 months before. It's not even like, I can't even say it's like a bad dream which came and now you've woken up. It's not even like a bad dream. It's like as if it's some distant, some past life or something. As if it's somebody else's story. And the best thing is there is no emotional scar or anything. There is only one thing in my inner space, that is bliss. And bliss and so much gratitude. Thank God I'm back here. Thank God I'm living with my master. Thank God I'm living with my Sangha, these people whom I value so much. Because for me, everyone is Swami inside them. Everyone has Swami inside them. And everyone reminds me of the days that I have been with him, the joyful times which we all had together. And I'm so happy to be back here. I think this is the best life anyone can have, honestly. I'm so happy that the first decision when I made that I decided to become an Ashramite, and it's been from then it's only good things happening to me. That's all. Whatever happens, whatever you might, if some things are seemingly difficult, even those difficult things are not actually difficult. They only guide you and they take you to the next plane. I just want to share one thing. When I was outside, I used to be very depressed. I didn't get through. Before coming to the ashram. I had finished my graduation 2006, and for 1 year I was preparing to give the entrance for my higher education, PG medical entrance. So that 1 year it was difficult time for me, studying, giving exams and this. And during that 1 year, I remember I used to frequently go into bouts of depression, in the sense that there's so much uncertainty about your life and there's so much pressure. I had not met Swami at that time. This was a few months before meeting Swami. And I've noticed all those times, even during college and all those times, when you're out, when you're depressed, no, you always look for some escapism. You watch TV for some time, you go around with friends, you go to some party, you go out for dinner, and you do everything so that you don't sit with yourself and analyze the cause of your depression or whatever. You just look to escape, and you always need an external support to pull you out. I used to have a counselor at that time, my teacher, who was a Reiki channel. So I used to go meet her, talk to her, or I used to do something. Some used to try to do some meditation or whatever. You always need an external support to pull you out. But what I have noticed in the ashram is, this past 3 years, I can't say that I've been blissful or alive and excited all this time. No, there have been times when I was in a low mood. There were times when there was some churning inside and I was depressed. But every time when I would go into a low mood, I noticed that I bring myself out. Suddenly something clicks in your inner space, something that Swami has said, or some instruction that was given to me. Something clicks in your inner space and you bring yourself out. This was a huge revelation for me. Earlier, I needed some external agency, support, or person to bring me out. Now, I am self-sufficient unto myself. And not only that, the interval between two low moods, that period of low mood or dull phase, the interval is increased progressively, and the duration of that low mood, that has also decreased. Now I can't even say there is something called as low mood. Of course, there are some hassles here and there. That's all. Otherwise, I only remember being here, enjoying myself every moment, enjoying the master's presence and this beautiful family. When I came here during the scandal, we all went to see Swamiji in the prison. Actually, all of us women, brahmacharis, we all went to see Swami in the prison. And few people, they saw Swamiji and they started crying. And the first thing what struck me was, Swamiji was in a chair. He was in a brown color plastic chair. He was sitting on a chair, and he had lost some weight. He was sitting like a lion. Actually, he had thinned down, but he was sitting like a lion, and I would say he was looking even more beautiful than how it was, as if he was sitting there for some energy darshan. He was all glowing and he was sitting like a lion, and it was, for me, it's like after so many days seeing him, and I was just so lost in his presence, and all of us were, in fact. We were just talking, telling Swamiji what happened, and he was talking, and we were just listening to him, and it was like a very beautiful family after a long time, and after so much uncertainty whether we would see him again at all. Suddenly we had few moments with him, Swamiji and just us. And it's like a beautiful family meeting. In fact, the jailer who was there, he had tears in his eyes. He said, "You are living like, you guys are such a beautiful family, and imagine the atrocities that have been committed against you." So this was one thing that I wanted to share. One more thing that I want to share is how Swamiji trains us to think. Actually, see, I'm not putting down anything or any system of education, but I think we are all brought up to become dull people. In fact, whatever natural intelligence we have been blessed with, somehow because of societal conditionings or the education system, we lose that intelligence, or we forget that intelligence, or whatever. Swamiji here, what Swamiji is doing is, he has taken on the responsibility of making us intelligent. Like he says, no, I have to awaken the non-mechanical parts of your brain. I have to make you guys think, out of the box. So actually, he said once, I have the responsibility of making each of you an intellectual giant. Actually, the kind of training that we receive here is terrific. It's just amazing. It's because, first of all, basically we are trained to think, and we are trained to handle different responsibilities. See, if I had been outside, I would have been only a doctor. I wouldn't have explored any other dimension of mine. I wouldn't have explored any other facet of mine. I would have just been a doctor. I would have earned some money, went back home, hospital home. There wouldn't have been anything different or great in my life. But here, I've learned so many things. I'm not just a doctor. Doctor is just one part of it. There are so many other dimensions to my growth. See, here I take care of the dispensary, not only as a doctor. I have learned so much there's a lot of other things in medicine field and things that I've learned after coming here. Like normally doctors outside, they do only consultation. If you are in a hospital, you don't do anything else apart from consultation. Everything else is being taken over by administration or by sisters. So here I have the opportunity to do everything by myself. Not only that, I have the freedom to do everything by myself. If I have to do the same, if I had to have the same freedom outside, then I should have I should have a hospital which is actually mine. I should have a hospital built with so many lakhs and which is mine. Ultimately, after that, and when I get to such a state, I would be constantly under stress because I won't be able to take decisions in an unclutched manner. Here it is like I have total freedom to do anything, and it's a beautiful space to grow. Actually, I explore all other dimensions. Here I'm being trained to become an acharya. I'm in the process of training to become an acharya, to take Swamiji's message to the world. And one more thing is publications. Bringing out books, whatever Swamiji has spoken as discourses, we bring them out as books. So it's like various dimensions, and I would say I've learned a lot actually. And services, medical camp services, medical camp. So it's like there are many dimensions, and he's helping me explore, and he's given the freedom and created the space where each one of us can explore different dimensions and expand.
I know that you take care of the 24-hour dispensary that we have in the ashram. There are people coming in all the time. Then you take care of the medical camps that we are doing in and around Birdi and the neighboring areas. You're also taken responsibility for the publications, right? You're bringing out books. And how are you able to handle so much?
I don't feel that I am handling so much. That is the best thing what Swami has done to us. I don't feel that I am handling so much. In fact, if you talk to any of our Ashramites, there won't be a single person who is just handling one department. Everyone here is handling 3-4 departments or multiple things together, and somehow I think I don't know how it happens or why it happens. I can say it happens only because you are in his presence. You are living with him. Somehow he makes everything happen. I don't know how or why, and you don't even realize that you're doing all this. In fact, now that you list out, you're doing this, you're doing the dispensary, you're doing the medical camps, now it feels like, oh, actually I'm doing, I'm doing, quite a number of things. Otherwise, none of us have the feeling that we are doing so much, and none of us feel that we are running around too much or anything. I would say this is true for all Ashramites here. We enjoy living with Swami. That's all. There is nothing else to be here. We are here for the love of the Master, and we are with him, and he is there for us, and in the process seva happens outside. In fact, it's not even seva oriented. I can say the seva, service to the society, it simply happens as a byproduct. That's all. None of us has any idea that we are doing so much or we are handling so much. In fact, it is not true. It is simply happening because of his presence and simply because of his energy. That is the kind of training he is giving each of us here. That's all. We just have fun, we enjoy, we have fun, and we just in the process seva and services happen to the society. That's all.
Do you have any message for the people out there who are doubtful about what is happening here? Both the strangers who don't know much about Swamiji and the people who have left the organization.
Yes, what I would like to tell to the people outside, but see, don't go about what is said in the newspapers or what is in the TV. Ultimately, everything is a crap. They don't focus on they don't bring the correct news to the society. And honestly, if you really want to know, see, what else do you want to know? We are the people who have survived a scandal. Come on, we have left our only basis of our existence was Swami and the Sangha. That itself was shaken, and now everyone is back together happily, and there is no trace of any emotional memory or pain that we carry. What else do you need? What other proof do you need that he is an incarnation? He has brought us to this level of maturity and balance simply because of his presence. We didn't do any great tapas. We didn't do any great meditation, or we don't practice life solutions constantly or anything. there was only one good thing that I did in my life. I just decided to be with Swami. That's all. The rest all happened beautifully. So please, my message would be, don't go by what is there in the papers or newspapers. Analyze for yourself, open your eyes and see the people living around the Swami, living around the Master. See the kind of bliss they radiate, the infectious energy, the enthusiasm, the love for the Master, the love that we have for each other. Just see all this, make a conscious decision and jump. He is a Master. He's happened after, such a charismatic Master has happened after so many years, and we don't know when he's going to, will he happen again, or we don't know anything. He is happening now, here. Just jump in. Don't think about anything. That will be the best decision of your life. All that you wanted, or you will want everything. He is beyond everything. I can't even explain this in words. If you come here, you will experience it for yourself. That's all. Just jump in.